Really, really special. She's in it for all the right reasons. She has this natural skill. She cares so much about her craft. She's so wants to make things that are special.
Hi, Adam.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Good, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk to you and
Thanks.
to talk about, it's funny because sometimes I'm afraid to forget stuff in the movie, and the character, she's young, and I was like, oh my God, if that happened to me, I don't know what I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna start with you. What was the inspiration for the script?
It came from Vanessa. So we known each other for a few years, and we were looking for a project to work on together. She called me up. She said, I have these sort of gaps in my schedule. Let's try to get something made. And she said, I want you to take me and I want you to throw me out into the streets of New York. Let's get messy. Let me interact with the real world. And that led to discussions of story, character, themes, things that we wanted to work on, and it came from there. And the specific story was something that I had worked on a little bit from a few years back and couldn't really crack. And then we became very excited about the idea of telling it fully from her point of view, and to be immersed completely with her, so that we would be unmoored in the same ways that she was. And the challenge, and then how do we do that? How do we make that a story? How do we take care of our audience in a way where we have a character that doesn't know herself and we're seeing the world from that point of view? And it was a really exciting challenge.
And I think she gives so much, like her performance. I don't know, it's something about her that.
She's an incredible actress.
Yes, I know.
She can do every single thing, and she's just really wonderful to work with. Something that came up earlier today, and I've said it before, it's people will be like, oh, were you intimidated to work with somebody who's so esteemed? And it's like, the reason that she's so good, the reason that she's so esteemed is because she cares about the work, and it's not a competition. It's about creating telling the story and pushing ourselves. And so, no, I mean, she wouldn't be as great if she was intimidating to work with. She's so wonderful and open to work with. Very, very special.
It's an amazing collaboration. I think that's be amazing to work with her. I don't know, and
it's really, really special. She's in it for all the right reasons. She has this natural skill. She cares so much about her craft. She's so wants to make things that are special.
Yeah,
and that's true for everything that she does. That's true in the bigger action movies and things like that. She's very focused on how do we make this character special and feel alive.
Yeah, that's amazing. And talking about the challenges, you're filming her any place messy. How was your biggest challenge? Was the editing part? Did you have any reshoots?
Well, we sort of did the whole thing. The shoot was great, and the editor was great too. We had an incredible team of editors. We had the story, we had the script. If you look at our script and you look at our sort of outlines and our lookbooks and stuff like that, that we did before we shot the movie, it really is the movie that it became. Maybe more than the other movies I made. It really is very true to the idea of what the movie was. But because of the nature of how we shot it, we're doing a few scenes traditionally, but a lot of the scenes we're doing, the takes are us doing the scenes over the course of several days in different environments. And so okay, do the warm world, cold world thing here. Okay, now do the warm world, cold world thing over there the next day. And that mixed with the amount of her walking around and interacting with the city, and mixed with the interview segments, gave us a lot. And it was really important for us to craft something that felt both that you could go on a real experience and a real trip, but also felt contained and wasn't 3 hours of her just walking around the city. So we knew in advance, even though we had this story, even though we were being very precise, we knew that the edit was going to be a long process and a tricky balance to have. We ended up having 4 editors on it. We went in with 3. Like, we knew that we were going to have at least 3 editors on the project, because we just knew that it was going to exhaust people.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
That's
yes,
really cool.
There was a long, and that was the biggest challenge. But I was working with great editors.
That's great. And the young actors, like, they are also really good. Like, how was like the process, like, to find, like, for example, Simon?
Both Maya and Simon were part of a variety show, a live variety show that I had worked on in the months before Vanessa called and we started to develop this. And it was a very, very goofy, silly show that we did. It was really fun. Maya actually came to one of the performances and then was like, can you get me a part in this? And I loved working with her. I loved working with her on the movie and on that. Simon performed, and a lot of the kids from the movie, a lot of the actors from the movie were part of that company. And so that's sort of how we found them. And then we had a casting director who, 2 casting directors who did street casting and brought in a bunch of other teenagers. And then what we did was we worked with, there was I should say, a very, very talented young actor and writer, director named Fred Heckinger, who's in the movie. He's also a producer on the movie, and he was involved in that variety show, and he brought a lot of people into this and really developed the movie with us until he got cast in opposite Amy Adams in some fancy movie and had to leave. And then we worked with them. We really just formed relationships and connections with these teenagers, and that, I think, allowed us to be comfortable and free on set.
And I always ask question because I think all projects you learn something about yourself that you didn't know from before. What did you learn about yourself, like, making this film?
It's a hard question for me to answer. And a couple of people have asked me, and I can't really articulate it. I think because it's a lot and somewhat profound. I feel it changed my life. Working with the teenagers changed my life. Being on a production with this team that was just such a wonderful team was very satisfying and fulfilling. And I think the movie and its story and the way that it's told, I don't know, I can't really articulate, but I think that there are things about me that I discovered, and it feels not intentionally, but it ends up feeling like a really personal work. And it's interesting because I think that on the previous movies, I could articulate it in a, like, here's a sentence and here's a sentence. You know, it's like the first movie was, I can do this, I should keep doing this, and I should keep working with my producer. You know, and I think for this one, it's more complicated because it's closer, and it's harder for me to get perspective on that now.
Yeah, no.
Sorry to give like a...
No, that's okay. That's okay. You learn some. You have learned something, but that's okay. Don't worry. And what do you want the audience take away from Italy Studies?
I don't like to be prescriptive in that, but I also don't want to be vague in answering it. So maybe this is too vague, but we want them to have an experience. And hopefully it's an experience that is ultimately entertaining and moving and fulfilling. But it's that kind of movie where you're going to go on a trip. And so we've seen people connect with this movie in deeply profound ways that is just so emotionally somewhat overwhelming for me. And we've seen people who have a very hard time connecting with this movie, and their experience is something different. Or we see people who say, oh my God, this movie is about this, and it's about youth, and it's about art, and it really touched me. It's about memory, and it's about identity, and it really touched me. And so people are taking different things away from it, but really what I want is them to sort of not be, to have a trip.
That's awesome. And I think this is the time that I have with you. Adam, I just want to thank you so much for your time. A pleasure to talk to you. And I'll wait for your next project. And thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Bye-bye. If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.